What if I told you that the beige walls in your living room are actually suppressing your mood?
I mean, it sounds intense, but it is entirely possible based on what we're seeing.
Right. Because for like the better part of the last decade, walking into a newly redesigned home felt a bit like stepping inside this highly curated oatmeal commercial.
Oh, completely.
Everything was gray, beige, greige, soft white. And it was incredibly safe, sure. But looking back, it feels less like a design choice and more like a collective aesthetic hibernation.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah, but right now, if you look at the design landscape, a massive psychological rebellion is happening in North American homes. I mean, we are waking up.
No.
So today, welcome to our deep dive. We are jumping into a comprehensive guide on modern interior design, event styling trends, and color psychology.
Right. We're looking at the sheer volume of bold, vibrant, unapologetically loud color palettes taking over our spaces.
Exactly. Our mission today is to figure out why everyone is suddenly ditching these safe, neutral rooms for deep jewel tones, how these colors actually hack our moods, and how you, yes, you listening, can use these design secrets in your own space without, making it look totally chaotic.
Because it is a profound visual shift. We are completely abandoning these muted, almost apologetic spaces.
Yeah.
And we're moving into environments that are highly saturated. We're seeing deep jewel tones, dramatic contrasts, and color combos that, honestly, would have given a traditional minimalist a full-on panic attack just 5 years ago.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand this vibrant revolution, we can't just look at the new colors. We have to figure out why we are so eager to kill off the neutral era.
Right.
Because for a long time, gray and beige weren't just popular, they were practically mandatory.
They were an economic safety mechanism, really. For a long time, neutral interiors dominated because they were universally palatable. They were optimal for resale value.
Right, you're essentially living inside a staged home for a hypothetical future buyer.
Exactly. You're painting for someone who doesn't even live there yet.
Right.
But the sources we're looking at point to a few converging factors that are totally dismantling that mindset.
Like what?
Well, housing mobility has changed dramatically, meaning people are just staying in their homes longer. When you aren't planning to move in 3 years, you stop treating your living room like a blank canvas for someone else.
Yeah, makes sense.
You start craving a space that evokes a specific emotion for yourself.
I see the logic there. You're nesting instead of staging.
Yes, precisely.
But looking at our notes, the sources also lean really heavily into the influence of the digital attention economy, right? Like platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. And this is where I kind of want to push back a little.
Oh, really? Go ahead.
Well, we know algorithms heavily favor high contrast, saturated images. An emerald green dining room is going to stop a doom scroll way faster than a beige one.
Oh, for sure.
So are we just building physical sets for our digital lives? Like, are people just painting their walls dark teal for the gram? Or is there an actual genuine emotional shift happening here?
What's fascinating here is that it's a feedback loop. Digital preferences are accidentally rewriting our real-world optical expectations.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, you're right about the algorithms. Our eyes are constantly trained on OLED screens, right? Screens pushing massive contrast and hyper-vibrant colors.
Yeah.
So when we look up from our phones, a flat gray room physically feels like sensory deprivation.
Oh, wow. Never thought about it like that.
Yeah, the digital space accelerates the trend. But it only sticks because it taps into a fundamental biological desire for visual stimulation. Social media might give someone the inspiration to paint their office deep plum, sure.
Right.
But they don't keep the deep plum because of an algorithm. They keep it because of how that specific wavelength of light alters their nervous system when they sit down to work.
Okay, so it's basically like hacking your own brain using paint.
Basically, yeah.
But if a single color acts like a psychological dial, turning our energy up or down, what is the actual mechanism there?
Well, it comes down to...
Like, if the algorithm feeds us the color, what is the paint physically doing to our brains when we finally put the phone down? Because the source material breaks down the psychology of the palette, but I really want to understand the biology behind it.
It comes down to evolutionary biology and how our eyes actually process different wavelengths of light. Color isn't just a visual experience, it's a physiological event.
Okay.
Let's take blue, for example. The sources highlight blue as representing calmness, stability, and trust.
Right, pretty classic associations.
Exactly. But the mechanism behind that is evolutionary. Humans evolved to associate blue with clear skies and clean water, scarce resources that signaled safety and survival.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Right. And when your retinas process that specific shorter wavelength, it requires very little physical accommodation from the lens of your eye.
Okay, so it's physically easy to look at.
Exactly. That ease of processing triggers a parasympathetic nervous system response.
Yeah.
It literally lowers your heart rate and slows your breathing.
So your eye muscles are physically relaxing, which is sending a signal to your brain that you are safe.
You've got it.
That is incredible. And then on the warmer side of the spectrum, our sources highlight yellow for happiness, optimism, and energy,
Yes.
and orange for enthusiasm,
No.
and purple, which I guess is having a massive resurgence for luxury and imagination. But here's my practical concern with that.
That's that.
If warmer colors require more physiological effort to process, and that causes a spike in energy, isn't a bright yellow, highly energetic kitchen going to be completely overwhelming when you're just trying to drink your coffee at 6 a.m. with a headache?
It absolutely can be, which is why interior design is really about managing cognitive load.
Right.
Yellow light has a longer wavelength. Your eye physically has to work harder to focus on it, which triggers a minor stress response, like
Yeah.
a tiny spike in cortisol. Now, cortisol isn't inherently bad. It's the hormone that wakes you up in the morning. But you are right. A floor-to-ceiling neon yellow kitchen is going to push that from healthy stimulation into total sensory overload.
So how do people actually implement these energetic colors without frying their nervous system before breakfast?
It's entirely about dosage and saturation. You wouldn't just blast an air horn to wake up gently.
I mean, I wouldn't.
The same goes for color. You might use a softer, buttery yellow, which reflects light more gently. Or you keep the walls a grounded, neutral tone, but install vibrant yellow pendant lighting, or maybe a set of yellow bar stools.
Oh, I see.
You are introducing the psychological benefit of the color, that optimistic cortisol bump, but in a highly controlled dose that the human nervous system can actually process without getting fatigued.
It's prescribing the exact right dosage of visual energy.
Exactly.
And looking at the specific combinations dominating North American homes right now, people are mixing these prescriptions in very complex ways.
They really are.
They aren't just picking one bold color. I'm looking at these trending pairings in our notes, and the one that immediately jumps out is navy blue and burnt orange.
Oh, that's a brilliant one.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If you had just described that color combo to me completely out of context, I'd picture like a chaotic sports team mascot.
Right, totally.
But the sources show this applied to modern kitchens, deep blue cabinets paired with burnt orange accents, and it's like putting a tailored navy suit on the room instead of sweatpants. It instantly elevates the room's authority. It looks incredibly sophisticated. What is the trick there? How does the eye know what to focus on without feeling overwhelmed?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it all comes down to the color wheel and the concept of visual temperature.
Okay, break that down.
Navy blue and burnt orange are complementary colors. They sit opposite each other on the color wheel. Navy is a cool, receding color. Because it's dark and cool, it visually pulls back from you, creating an illusion of depth and authority. It acts as the anchor. But a room that is entirely cool and dark can feel cavernous, almost unwelcoming.
Like walking into a tailored but completely empty boardroom.
Precisely. So you introduce the burnt orange. Orange is an advancing color. It visually jumps out at you. It injects a highly concentrated dose of warmth.
So it's about the contrast.
The trick is the tension between the two. The cool navy provides stability and depth, while the warm orange provides approachability. Your visual cortex stays highly engaged because it's processing opposite stimuli simultaneously.
But it doesn't feel chaotic because the cool tone is grounding the warm tone.
Exactly. It perfectly reflects the modern lifestyle. We want our spaces to feel structured and productive, but simultaneously cozy and inviting.
That tension makes so much sense. You're balancing the temperature so the brain stays interested but relaxed. The sources also highlight emerald green and gold, which operates on a similar but I guess slightly different frequency.
Yeah, emerald green and gold is fascinating because it plays with light reflectance. Green provides a lush, natural depth again, an evolutionary signal for a fertile, healthy environment. But dark green absorbs a lot of light. So by pairing it with metallic gold hardware or accents, you are introducing highly reflective surfaces that bounce warm light back into the space.
Okay, so it brightens it up without losing that richness.
Exactly. It creates an environment that feels grounded, yet distinctly luxurious.
And the application of these specific pairings shifts dramatically depending on what the room is actually used for, right? Because we've talked about kitchens and living areas, but the source material emphasizes a completely different strategy for bedrooms.
Oh, absolutely. Bedrooms are primarily for recovery. You might love the dynamic tension of navy and orange, but having a highly advancing energetic color like burnt orange right in your line of sight could seriously disrupt your body's wind-down process.
Yeah, no one wants to feel energized when they're trying to sleep.
Right. So in bedrooms, designers are heavily favoring deep blue accent walls or rich jewel-tone purple bedding. Purple is particularly effective here.
Early. Purple.
Yeah. It combines the calming stability of blue with the warmth of red. But at a deeper saturation, it lowers the heart rate while still feeling deeply personal and opulent.
We are fundamentally reverse engineering our homes to dictate our physiological states room by room.
We really are.
But this shift isn't contained to just the paint on our walls. It is spilling over into how we consume materials, how we celebrate major life events, and basically where the entire future of spatial design is headed.
It's a comprehensive cultural shift. You see it very clearly in the events industry, actually.
Oh yeah, the weddings section in the guide.
Yes. For decades, the North American wedding was strictly defined by white, ivory, and maybe like a soft blush. It was a uniform.
Right.
Now, event planning platforms, the sources highlight Weddizer specifically, are showcasing dramatic venue transformations. Couples are aggressively rejecting the traditional white template.
Going bold.
Very bold. They are choosing fuchsia and gold, terracotta and blush, royal blue and silver.
Which ties perfectly back to that rejection of the blank canvas we were talking about. A white wedding looks beautiful, sure, but it kind of looks like a stock photo.
Exactly.
A fuchsia and gold venue looks undeniably specific to the people hosting it. But as we look at how far this trend is pushing, I have to ask about some of the extreme future trends mentioned in the sources.
Sure.
There is a term here that caught my eye. Color drenching.
Oh, yes.
Wait, is that as intense and maximalist as it sounds?
It is an intense but highly effective spatial trick. Color drenching is the practice of painting literally every surface in a room the exact same bold color.
Every surface.
Yes. The walls, the ceiling, the baseboards, the doors, the window trims, even the radiators.
Okay, wait. If the eye needs a place to rest, as we talked about earlier, doesn't painting the ceiling and the doors the exact same dark plum color make a room feel like a claustrophobic box?
You would think so, but it actually achieves the exact opposite effect. It's a manipulation of boundary perception.
Boundary perception. Okay, explain that.
When you paint a room with white ceilings and white baseboards, your eye easily tracks the high contrast lines.
Yeah.
You instantly perceive the exact dimensions of the room. Your brain says, okay, the wall stops here, the ceiling begins here.
You're highlighting the cage.
Exactly. But when you color drench a room in a dark, saturated tone, you erase those visual boundaries. The corners effectively vanish in the shadows.
Oh, I see.
It's similar to staring up in the night sky.
Yeah.
Because you can't perceive where the physical boundary is, your brain interprets the space as infinitely deep. It actually makes small rooms feel vast and immersive.
That is a brilliant optical illusion. But moving toward all these heavy, saturated paints and deep textiles brings up a really critical friction point mentioned in the sources.
What's that?
Well, if millions of people are completely overhauling their spaces, painting over the millennial gray with deep teals and rich purples, how does that square with the growing demand for eco-conscious, sustainable living?
This raises an important question, and it is a massive challenge for the design industry right now. Historically, highly saturated paints required heavy chemical solvents to maintain their vibrancy.
Right.
Those paints release what are called VOCs, volatile organic compounds.
I've seen that acronym on paint cans at the hardware store. What exactly are they?
They are toxic chemicals that off-gas into the air as the paint dries and